So this actually has been a long while since I last recorded any proper videos. So truth be told, my phone storage is nearly over. In fact, the phone itself is fine, but iCloud keeps pestering me to start paying for terabyte of data, which I don't need. And yeah, obviously it cost me the opportunity to record videos. So I haven't been recording this, and since then finished the project with the bed frame. Did some small projects here and there, but most notably we've been viewing house, well, a couple of houses indeed, and actually ended up buying one. I'm out of breath because I've just climbed another hill, and we viewed a couple of properties. We were dead certain we want to stay in Wales. We've been living here for the last 5 or 6 years, I think, and yeah, nothing else compares to Wales. And you get treated with views like this. I mean, why not? So easy. Obviously the house is old. One positive thing about that is that it has actually been standing for 200 years, and yes, it needs repair, it needs some DIY. So my bed frame build was actually kind of more serious step to try and test how will I actually be able to do something like this. And yeah, it was an interesting experience. I've built it, I've got it done. It's in a new house now, so it survived one house move, which is brilliant. And since then I started to work on a few more projects. Nothing to write home about, like just basic stuff, painting some tables, getting things around the house cleaned up. But there is more to come, and one of the bigger projects I've started last summer was... What do you think will the project be? Oh, okay. Does this give you any clues? So the fascias do need replacement, I believe, because having a look at it, I found that some of that has rotten, and I like the idea of starting from the lowest edge, because it will give me a good enough training into what the process will look like of removing some slates, removing some old pieces of wood, perhaps doing something about the joists, and depending on what condition they'll have there, and then obviously attaching the new piece of wood all pre-painted, and that is also another step in this process. Then I have already thought about how to reach the top bit in the gable end, and I've bought this massive ladder, which is pretty good and it gets me there. That's fantastic, but it's very fiddly to work with. One of the reasons is because the ground level is not even, and because of that I always have to kind of find the right angle for the ladder and place it, which is not too bad. But also there is a lot of hedges over this side, and that causes additional set of challenges, because now if I were to set the ladder closer to the end, I won't be able to achieve the right angle, so it doesn't flip when I'm at the top. So it's just all really fiddly. The ladder is super massive. Maybe I could go with this for a smaller version, just to make it a little bit easier, but I doubt this would make everything super easy. So I have alternative plan, which I think I will have to kind of go ahead with, and this is to buy the scaffolding tower. and I had two options basically. I went for a quote from the company to hire it, and to be honest, obviously hiring it wouldn't, like, there wouldn't be a point in hiring a tower that I will need to figure out how to disassemble, assemble every 5 minutes, when I need to kind of get everything done in a matter of week or 2 weeks, I don't know. And because of that, I would basically struggle with hiring just a tower. So I thought I'm gonna try and hire proper scaffolding, either in front of this area, which is the biggest concern of mine, or all around the house. I've got a quote, and it's $1,200 just to put the scaffolding over here, while it's almost the double amount to put all around the places where I need this to be. The 1,200, so for £600 I can actually get the scaffolding tower. Yes, it will be a bit more fiddly in terms of, like, if I want to move it, when I need to move it, I need to disassemble it or figure out the way how to change its place. But I was almost ready to go with the ladder, which almost has the same challenges, a little bit more challenges, but with the scaffolding tower, obviously I also get the adjustable feet that will compensate for the drop in the ground level. I will also be able to fit it inside of this section with, like, hedges and stuff, and I will not be restrained by time, and that's most important, because most of this work I'm planning to do on the weekends. Perhaps I will book some, like, holiday, a week or so, just to get things done when I know that I'm ready. But nothing stops me to kind of do small bits before I'm fully ready. So that's how the plan stands at the moment, and well, we shall see how I progress. See you later. You know how some people during midlife crisis buy red fast cars? I definitely got something red over here. This is the scaffolding tower. It's not fast, but it will get me up there. Exciting. First time I constructed the tower, I picked an easy spot so it can stand there all the time, and I can actually enter and leave the property if I wanted to. And in the end it just made sense to start the work from there. So instead of fascia, which as I learned is a board on the sides of the pitched roof, I decided to first replace the barge board, i.e. the board on the gable end of the roof. This meant I had to remove wet verge. This is where the concrete holds the last row of tiles, and it started to crack, and in some places even fall apart. So it made sense to fix this at the beginning of the project and then see what happens really. Alright, let's do a quick update. So I'm continuing preparing the barge board for installation on the roof. So I have already sanded it down, at least the parts that will be visible, but also there was a defect from transportation, and I've got some wood filler and basically resolved that. So it's left, all is left is to sand the second layer of the filler down, and it should give me a nice edge. So I'm going to be on the visible side, but I kind of hated the idea that it was there. So the wood filler should fix it. Also, this is my weird construction to protect the tools against rain. Kind of works, but I also kind of hate it because it ruins the view in the garden. So trying to get rid of that as soon as possible and move on to removing the slates from the gable end and installing the new barge board. So these now painted in 3 layers, so they're ready to go on the roof. They will be behind the barge board to fix the barge board too, and to replace some rotten wood. Alright, now I'm at mess making stage, where I'm trying to disassemble the edge of the roof so I can basically remove all the render over here, still some left, and yeah, remove some tiles and then replace all the wood underneath, like this barge board, and there are a couple of pieces behind it as well. So yeah, going very slowly to be fair, and some of the slates are quite easy to chip because they're slates and they're old slates as well. But so far I think I've managed to destroy 2 of them, and I've got 3 like removed properly. So still a few to go, and I'm only doing this half at the moment. Then the other half, which is behind me, will follow later on. How the mess looks like. So these are slates I've managed to remove without breaking them. Yeah, some of them aren't in the greatest of conditions either. But yeah, I'm probably gonna need to buy some reclaimed slates to replace those that are completely broken. We'll see how that goes, but essentially what I found was, yeah, actually instead of like 3 massive beams behind the barge board, there are in fact 2 big beams and 1 just a bit of lumber, I think maybe, I don't know, 1 by 3 1 by 4, I don't know. Inches aren't my strongest thing, but yeah, so gradually removing the slates and this around the chimney, proves to be a challenge. This one seems to be stick on top of this one, like silicone or some kind of glue. So this one is especially tricky to remove. I don't want to remove the whatever it's called, apex ridge end. Yeah, I don't want to remove that yet. And the plan is that I'm going to put something to protect the roof for now from the rain and stuff, because yeah, it's probably gonna take me a few days to actually complete this edge. Well, talking about a few days, I purely like estimating how long it will take me to remove the slates. Then the challenge will be to actually replace the barge boards and stuff, which are luckily already ready to go and painted, so that should be nice. And then yeah, there is a massive gap for no reason. Well, there must be a reason, I just don't know what it is. That's it, really. And my extension lead nearly collapsed, so I need to figure out how to actually fix it properly. So weather is getting worse, means I need to make sure that the roof is protected, because I'm back to work tomorrow, which means I'm not going to be able to work on the roof all day long. But also because overnight there might be a storm or, I don't know, rain. So yeah, I needed to figure out how to protect the roof, especially in those areas where I started to remove the timber as well as the slate. And I got this piece of shed roof lying around. But for now, I can basically not worry too much about water getting into this area, or perhaps wind lifting some of the slates. I got good news and bad news. The good news, I just pull a little bit of the render and it helped me to basically remove most of the slates. And it's not what you think, the slates are actually all safe and sound. I did go on this little ladder and picked most of them from down below. They just went nice and easy. The bad news obviously being that I wonder what actually holds them attached. So yeah, there's definitely one button there, even by looking at it, looks wet and rotten. Bit bigger distance than I would say I expected. So maybe gonna need to replace a little bit more of the buttons than I anticipated. It's visible just over there. The barge board though comes off at the bottom really easily, like it's pretty much not attached anymore apart from the top part, which I can easily access with the scaffolding. So yeah, I think I'm on the right track, even a little bit faster than I anticipated, because this is just like stuff after work. I've managed to remove the top nasty bits of slates. They were stick together, glued by something. This ridge top is easily removable, but it's quite stable, so I'm not touching it for now. And there is one bit that is still quite, there is a lot of render that holds it, so I'm gonna leave it till later. And yeah, the views are quite amazing. Let's get it to, yeah, it's beautiful here. I have removed the barge board. Here it is, all dirty and ugly and very rotten, so it was worth it. Not like I've doubted that it's gonna be rotten and it might not be worth it. It's definitely worth it to remove it and replace with something new. Yeah, so the barge board from there basically, is all gone. And yeah, now there are timbers behind the barge board that I need to remove. They're much thicker and in a better condition than barge board itself, so I'm still thinking to remove it, because partially, especially the one in the front, well, in front, which used to be right at the back of the barge board, is rotten towards the end. Then some brittle bits in the middle as well, so I think it's still worth to remove it. How many different layers of paint this barge board had? There's black, I think that was the last level layer. There's blue, there's this greenish, let's say green, and I've also noticed some white paint over there, just on the back. I wonder if it ever was white, maybe it's some kind of primer. Yeah, so goodbye, old barge board.